Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to actually create 3 Livewire components. So we might not finish them all up in this lesson. We might only do the indicator and the count, or we can do them each one separately. All right, because I need to kind of explain the process and the steps as well. All right, so the first one will be the indicator to indicate if there is actually a notification. So let's go to our dashboard. Let me just show you. As you can see, the bell icon flashes. That's the indicator. All right. The next one will be our notification count. All right. So that will be the little number next to the bell icon indicating how many notifications there are. All right. And obviously the last one, I was thinking a drop-down menu for the notifications. And I was just thinking there's not just enough space in there. All right. I don't like that really. Better user experience. If the user click on the bell icon, they can actually go to, we have our little a site navigation actually in here displaying the notifications so that they can actually, like our index page or something, actually displaying. Let's just go to, can it actually see a table like this with all the notifications, more or less, right? Displaying the notification and where the user can actually click a button to say if they read the notification. All right, I think that's a little bit better user experience. So we can do all 3 of them. All right, the count, the indicator, and obviously all the notifications. Are we going to create all the Livewire components in this lesson, but we will edit and work on them individually. All right, the component itself, the class, and the view in one lesson. All right, so let's get started. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up our terminal and we're going to create PHP artisan. What we're going to do is we're going to create all 3 of them, like I said before, in this video, and then we're going to just work with each one individually. All right, so the first thing is PHP artisan make, and then we're going to just say Livewire. All right, I'm going to have a folder. If we go to our Livewire components, so to the Livewire, you'll see I got folders for everything. So I got my reply folder and I got my thread folder. So what I will do now is I will actually create a notification folder. All right, like notification folder. I'm going to make it plural, and then inside that I'm actually going to put the indicator. Okay, so that's the first one. Indicator. Okay, so press enter. All right, so as you can see, we got our notifications, Livewire notifications, then we've got our indicator. All right, so the next one will be our count. Okay, so we do that. All right, how I do that in your terminal, just press the up arrow key, just up. All right, then you can just obviously, instead of having to type everything again. All right, so we got our notifications, so we got our indicator, we've got our count, and the next one is the one to display all our notifications. All right, so what we could have done here is notifications index like this. This works perfectly. Or you could have just said all, or whatever you want to choose. For me, index makes sense because it's kind of the convention I use when I actually create my views as well in my folders. All right, so if I go to resources, views, as you can see under home index, so I know what everything is. So it's kind of the convention I'm going to use. You can choose whatever you want, right? So in this case, I'm just going to use notification index, indicating all my notifications will go into that component. All right, so what we're going to do, let's start off with the first one, indicator, right here. All right, and on the indicator, we just, as you can see, it already with Livewire, it actually gives you a view as well. And I'm going to keep the view. So let's say, let's go to that. So as we go to our, let me just close this off for now. Resources, views, Livewire, you will see notifications folder, and we have all 3 of them right there. All right, let's start off with the first one, the indicator right here. Okay, let's create this one. All right, so what I want to do, I want to actually go now to Tailwind to actually get that pulsing animation for the background of our indicator. All right, so what I'm going to do, let's go to our browser quickly to get that So in your documentation, what we can do, you type in here. Right, so what we want to type in is animation. So click that. Now, there's a couple of animation. We've got the pulsing one right here. You've got the spin, all right? And that's obviously if you have a animation that kind of indicates something is loading, that will be useful. Now, in this case, the ping works very well for me in order to indicate, like, listen, notice me. Right. So this is kind of the one that we're going to use. It comes with your Tailwind installation. There's no extra work that you need to do. You just need to add the property animate ping. Right. The reason why I'm showing you this, because I'm going to add a couple of classes so that you know where this is coming from. All right. So you can obviously go to the Tailwind documentation and just go and read up more about them. All right. So I'm going to go back to the code editor and we're going to actually create this right here. Okay, let's go back. So in our code editor, what I want to do is, you must remember with the class right here, the view, it needs to be between two divs. This is the div that encapsulates the whole thing. If I add another div underneath this one, it almost is like invalid. Okay, so let's just keep everything under one div right there. All right, so the first one, I'm just going to give this div a class of relative, all right, and a width of 8. All right, so that says, let me just delete this. All right, the next part that I want to do is I want to create a span tag, right, and just give us some room here so that you guys, a span tag, and I'm just going to put the span relative. I don't know what is easier. Let me type it out and you guys can just copy it. Okay. All right. So basically I created a div with the position of relative, flags, item center, justify center, a width of 6 and a height of 6. All right. So the next part that we want to do inside this, let me just make it a span, not a div. Okay. Now inside the span, I want to position that pulse animation with absolute. Okay, so we're just going to create another span. We can actually make this a div. All right, now I'm going to add a couple of classes in here as well. And yeah, the reason why I'm doing it this way is the videos get a little bit too long. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck on HTML and CSS, Tailwind kind of stuff, and actually getting to the code itself. All right. So this is basically, we position it absolute, inline flags with the full, height of full, and we give it the background of blue 400, rounded full, opacity of 75, and you see this animate ping. All right, that's the one we have right there. Now the next part is I actually want now to include that bell icon. All right, so I'm going to do that, and you can just, all right, you guys know how to get the icons now. Right, so we got our position in this one is a position of relative, or you don't actually have to include that, and you can just add the icon right there and give it a text of blue, width of 4, a height of 4. Right, so this is basically an icon as it is right now. I just want to, let's just go to included in our navigation quickly. So under resources, views, layouts, app layout, okay, because this is basically our dashboard. This is our app layout, and you will see if you've got the navigation, the extensions for VS Code installed, you will see you can be able to click on that right there. All right, and we click right through. All right, I want that icon to be between our themes and our settings right there. So I'm just going to include that Livewire, and I'm going to the notifications indicator right here. Okay, so if we include it right there, then it will be displayed right now. So let's go to the browser to see if it actually displays the indicator. All right, we've got our indicator to display, but as you can see, it doesn't show the icon itself. We see the pulsing animation, but we don't see the icon. Right, we got our bell icon in there right now. I will show you how I fixed that. Right, so let's go back, editor. Right, I got our position absolute for the first span right there, and I put it another span for our icon, just like that. Just make sure you copied everything to be the same. The reason why I'm leaving so much spaces in there is so that you guys can easily just see. And just pause the lesson, the video right here, copy everything as it is. Obviously, you can change the colors. You can change this to red, whatever you want to do. All right. And obviously, the Zond icon. For those that don't know how to add this, I'll quickly show you how to add it. All right. You go to Blade UI Kit Blade / Blade icons. You click the Get Started and you follow the process right there. For those that already have done that, you just go to icons and we just go to Zond icons, and we can actually search for, what did this one call? This one is, I think, notifications. Right, as you can see, we've got our 2 different notifications. You can use the outline or you can use the solid. It's all up to you. And you can just click on the icon right there, and you can just copy it on the clipboard right here. All right, so very, very, very easy and nice to do. All right, so I'm just going to close off this right here. Now, as you see, we got our indicator indicating right there. So this is basically that part done. All right, so now I'm just going to close it up. Right, just remember to copy everything. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to create that little icon for how many notifications there are. All right, so I want to add that in as well. Okay, just underneath that div. So like, you must think of this div as one group, and we're just going to create a group underneath that one just for the indicator, to indicate how many notifications. All right, then we add a position of absolute, top that, right that, and we put everything like this. With the spanner, I just add the number 2 just to indicate, but this is obviously going to come from our Livewire component. So app AZB Livewire notifications. It's actually going to come from this component right here, which we obviously haven't styled yet. So it's going to come from there. Right, so this is basically that. So we actually can include that Livewire count actually at the moment. So let's do that. Livewire, and we can include the count right here. And let's just change in our notifications count. Let's just change this to 2 for now. Obviously going to style it a little bit different. Okay, so in our notifications indicator class, just add the indicator, the count of your Livewire right there between that. Just pause the video and just obviously copy the span classes right there. We're obviously going to move it a little bit more to the right, but you will see in a second why. So as you can see, we've got our 2, but it's now covering our bell right there. We're just going to move it a little bit up to the right there. All right. All right, keep everything as it is. Just change your width of your main div that encapsulates everything. Just give it a width of 8 and a height of 8. Right, you can obviously play around with it to however you guys want. All right, so let me refresh. As you can see, we've got a little icon right there to indicate how many messages. All right, now what I want to do, I want this to be a clickable icon. Okay, so what I will do, I will change this div to actually be an anchor tag. Right, and then we're just going to do an href, and then we just, at the moment, we're not going to go anywhere. I'll just put the hash sign in there just to kind of indicate that this button is clickable so that the pointer and everything can be on it. Okay, let's go there quickly. Right, as you can see, now I can hover my mouse over it. I can actually click the icon. So what I obviously haven't created yet, I will create a route where if we click this, we will actually go to our notifications, like on the index and stuff. Right? Okay, but for now, I'm not going to do that. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to focus on actually creating the indicator. All right, so let's go to our Livewire components quickly. Would be Livewire notification.indicator. All right, So in the next lesson, we're going to work on the component itself. All right. So now we've got the indicator working, we've got the count displaying, but we need the logic to be able to do the right thing. All right. So the next ones will be short lessons because I will display the indicator, and the next one will be the count, and after that we will do the index. All right. So the indicator will be a short lesson because we already done most of the work now. All right. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you don't, please give it a dislike. I will not be offended, but the likes are only there really to, if you find the lessons useful or the videos useful, other people might find it useful as well. So that Google might suggest it to them. All right. That's the only reason I ask. Thank you guys and see you in the next one. Goodbye.